Welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila, and today I've got 25 business phrasal verbs for you. Now, you might find it a little bit confusing to think that we use phrasal verbs in business English. Phrasal verbs have probably been explained to you as being colloquial and informal, something you really wouldn't want in a business situation, right? Wrong. Phrasal verbs in business English can often soften your language, meaning it's actually more diplomatic and more polite. For example, if you want to say no to somebody in a business situation, you usually wouldn't say no. You would say, "I'm afraid I have to turn down the offer." In this case, a phrasal verb is being used to be softer and more polite, much more diplomatic, and you won't get anybody angry. So that is why phrasal verbs in business English can be essential. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Click that little red button below and also click the little bell. That will mean that you get notifications when it looks like this and be the first to be told when Sabrah or I upload a brand new lesson. How great is that? Now, before we get started, I do just want to draw your attention to an amazing offer from the sponsor of today's video, Lingoda. Now, we've only just started working with Lingoda, but have already been massively impressed by the professional levels of their teachers. The fact that they are native and qualified teachers really sets them apart from many other learning language platforms. And so, having that flexibility of being able to have lessons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week really is incredible. Very recently, they have launched their Business English course. Learning business English really can help you unlock your potential and achieve much more in the workplace, whether it's a promotion, writing better emails, conducting yourself more professionally in meetings and even interviews. Now, in addition to all these amazing benefits, there is a 7-day money-back guarantee. So within 7 days of booking your course, you can cancel and get your money back without any questions asked. So the course includes 90 group lessons over 6 months. That's a perfect amount of time, not too intensive that you might find it overwhelming if you do already work, but also short enough to really get the full impact and benefit of those lessons so you don't forget what you're learning. So, how much is the course? Well, it works out to €11 per lesson. This is a one-off payment, and again, I'll stress that you do have that 7-day money-back guarantee if for any reason you change your mind. Now, if you're not sure, you can even have a free trial class. So if you are interested, you can get this discount with our very special Love English voucher code. All you need to do is click the link in the description and add the code when you are prompted. Right, I think now it's time to get down to business. Now, these phrasal verbs could be found in emails, during meetings, in an interview. So, they really could help boost your language level and also help you understand English people in the workplace. Okay, number 1, to deal with. Don't worry, I'll deal with the problem. Essentially, deal with means manage, handle, work on. It is that simple. So what problems do you have to deal with at work? Number 2, a really important phrasal verb that you will often hear in business English, particularly if you're watching things like Bloomberg television, take over. Now, to take over means to gain control over someone or something. Very often we can use it as a noun describing a business takeover when one company has bought another company and then manage it. Or you can talk about it within the workplace. She's taking over everything, meaning she's taking control and not allowing other people to do their job. Number 3, to look into, to investigate or to learn more about something. We're looking into using new software for our training. We're looking into the problem. We're looking into hiring more people. We're investigating something. We're trying to learn more about it. So number 4, to sort out, is very similar to deal with. It means to find a solution to the problem. Don't worry, I'll sort it out. Can you sort that out for me? Meaning, can you deal with the problem and find a solution to whatever is happening? Thank you for sorting out the problem with my email. It's working perfectly now. Number 5, to take on. Now, when you talk about taking on something, it means that you are taking responsibility to accept a task or a job that is given to you. I'm pleased to offer you this new job. I hope you will take on the responsibility happily. I've taken too much on at work. I'm exhausted. Number 6, to cut back. Now, this is probably going to be referring to financial situations, to budgets at work. We need to reduce how much we are spending. Number 7, to back up. Now, you might think about this in terms of software. Many of us back up our photos on a hard drive or on Google Drive. So to back up actually means not to save, but to support in business English. In this case, an example would be, thank you so much for backing me up in the meeting. I don't think anyone agreed with me on that point. Back up, think about it. It's your back and someone leaning behind you and giving you support. So she backed me up when I suggested spending more money in the budget. Number 8 is look through. This simply means to search many things. It might be, for example, a contract at work. I'm just going to look through it to check that everything is okay. So when you look through something, you are checking and you might be looking for something specific, or it could just be in general. I'm looking through your notes from the meeting. Number 9 is a great one, and you can use this in any situation, to catch on. Now, in the context that I'm giving you, to catch on means to understand. And it essentially means to finally understand. And so when someone asks you, are you catching on to this? It means, are you following what I'm saying and keeping up to speed? So for example, Ali learns quickly. He caught on very fast in the job. Number 10 is to get ahead. Now, often when we have ahead, think about the top of something. It essentially means to move up in your position, or indeed improve your career. My boss has told me that if I want to get ahead, I need to work a little bit harder. So how many of you want to get ahead at work? I'm sure many of you are looking for a promotion. Number 12 is useful also if you are applying for a job. Remember, many of us have to complete an application form, and rather than say complete, we usually say fill in. So to fill in means to complete an application form. You literally put inside the boxes your name, your date of birth, your details. You need to fill in the form before you apply for the job. Now, number 12 is actually fill in again. However, as with many phrasal verbs, fill in has 2 meanings. In this case, we would use it in the workplace to say that someone is temporarily filling a position. So for example, I just need to go to the toilet. Can you fill in for me on the phone? So it's to do a job or to hold a position temporarily. Number 13 is a phrasal verb that you will be familiar with in another context, bring up. Now, bring up we usually think of as being raise, to raise a child. My mother brought me up. However, in a business situation, when you bring something up, you raise an issue to introduce a topic or idea. So, for example, the number of sick days allowed at work was brought up in the meeting. It was raised. It was brought to our attention. Now, 14, break down. And this is not referring to a car when it stops working. In business English, when we break something down, we take it down into parts to understand it better. So we are explaining something or dividing it so it is easier for another person to understand. The new management system seemed really confusing, but when my boss broke it down into 5 simple steps, I was able to understand it better. Number 15 is another great phrasal verb, to hold up or to be held up, often in the passive form. It simply means to be delayed. The bad weather is holding up progress on the new building. Number 16 is to turn down. Now, this simply means to refuse. Sometimes in business situations, a phrasal verb can soften the language. So rather than saying no or I refuse, if somebody offers you something, for example, I'm really sorry, I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn you down. So it's a much softer way of saying something in business English. Now, number 17, we had look through and now we've got think through. In the same way, it means that we are processing some information to make sure A, that we understand it properly, and B, to check there's nothing that we're not happy with. So it's to consider something carefully. The marketing team didn't think things through when they decided to spend £10,000 on the advert. Now, number 18 can be a little bit rude if said in the wrong way. To spell something out. If someone doesn't understand a situation properly, you might say, I had to spell it out for her. It basically means that you had to explain something, literally A, B, C, D, very simply, very slowly, very carefully. Sarah misunderstood the question, so we had to spell it out for her. Number 19 is really nice and simple because if you think about it, it's quite logical. To point out. Now, when you point something out, you are indicating, you are showing somebody something that they might not have noticed before. Everybody was shocked when the boss pointed out their mistake. Number 20 is to cool off. To cool something off, not just in a business situation, means to cancel. So we had to cool off the meeting because the boss was sick. To cool off, cancel. So easy. 21 is put off. Don't get the two confused. That could cause a problem. To put something off means to postpone. So we put off the meeting until Friday when the boss was feeling better. We delayed it. Number 22 is a little bit colloquial. It's generally spoken. You wouldn't write it. It's quite informal. To chip in, meaning to give help or to add something to the conversation. So she chipped in and gave us some brilliant ideas on how to improve the product. Number 23, I think, is possibly one of the most important because you really would not understand it unless you'd been watching this lesson. To run something by or to run something past someone. Now, in this case, we are getting approval. We are checking that it's okay. So, she ran the figures by me. She ran the figures past me. It's usually to get somebody's opinion or indeed, like I said, approval. So she ran the idea past her boss. He loved it. Number 24 is to set up. It means to arrange. Let's set up a meeting for tomorrow afternoon. And again, it can be used within a general English context. So, have you set up the meeting yet? So number 25 is more of a phrasal verb expression, to put in a good word. When you put in a good word, usually with someone, it means that you are adding a positive comment. Usually in the case of helping somebody get a job, don't worry, I'll put in a good word with the boss. So to say something positive, to put in a good word. Right guys, I hope that was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, to click that little bell as well to make sure that you get notifications, and to click the link in the description box to go through to Lingoda and sign up for that amazing business course offer. Don't forget the voucher code to get your special Love English discount.